everyone, welcome back to another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I'm Dan, the Part-Time Avenger. That's Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're here to talk about a movie that, I don't know if I would use the word honors, but maybe talks about some people who, by the end, are veterans of a foreign skirmish, if you will. If Czechoslovakia is any kind of scary place to be. I hear it's like Wisconsin. Yes, that's right. We're here to talk about Stripes.
This is our Veterans Day episode. So Stripes, this is a classic movie that I have not seen yet. So that's part of my origin story. I am a fan of comedy, but there's something about like those older comedies that I just didn't get into yet. Mostly because I was just really killing it with all the other movies that I was watching at the time. So, but Mark, what's your origin with Stripes?
I mean, Stripes is one of those movies that was on cable all the time when I was growing up. It saw it a lot, and I can't see it enough. It is a quintessential 80s movie with a murderer's row cast. You know, it is right at the precipice of Bill Murray and Harold Ramis really getting their stuff going. This is post Caddyshack, pre Ghostbusters. Ivan Reitman directing, Harold Ramis writing and participating, and you just have so much just quality from Bill Murray to the aforementioned Harold Ramis to everybody's favorite Canadian John Candy. You got other folks that would be large, not maybe large, but recognizable throughout their careers, like John Larroquette. You got Judge Reinhold in this, very early in his career. Joe Flattery as the border guard, who you still don't know. But I know from Ed Grimley. So there's some SCTV folks in here. There's some SNL people in here. And overall, so good.
You also had the first trans person ever, I think, right? Isn't Ray Finkel in this?
Is he?
Ray Finkel? No? Maybe it was Lieutenant Einhorn. Maybe one of the two. But either way.
Oh, it's Einhorn, I think.
Yeah, Ray Finkel.
Yeah. So, Finkel's Einhorn. Laces out, bitch.
Yeah, Sean Young. Didn't recognize her. I'm thinking that's the same Sean Young. I don't think that there's another Sean Young in Hollywood, at least a female. So, yeah, I'm going to chalk that up as the first trans in the military all the way back then. So we'll see.
She was also a replicant if you align to Blade Runner. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in Sean Young's life.
So many things going on in this movie. I mean, you've got, just like you said, murderers row of comedians. But yeah, there's a lot of people in this. I think the chemistry with everyone is something we'll obviously discuss. But overall, when it came to Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, them as a partnership, at that point, when did you see this in relation to Ghostbusters?
Oh, after Ghostbusters. I mean, this is not a movie you show kids. We saw Ghostbusters because there was a cartoon about it and a lot of amazing toys that you didn't have. Because we've all heard Danny's stories on the podcast that he just got a Slinky to straighten. Those were his toys. Very Egon.
Just because we're talking about Ghostbusters, I don't know, have we ever talked about this as to why the Ghostbusters cartoon was called The Real Ghostbusters?
Because there was another Ghostbusters cartoon with a monkey that was also awesome from Filmation. Yes, I know this.
Okay. All right. So we did talk about it. So for anyone who didn't know, there apparently was a Ghostbusters TV show even before the movie, and they weren't the first ones to do it. And so they eventually ended up getting the rights because they agreed with that Filmation studio on some certain things. And then they basically screwed that studio and then just came out with their own cartoon called The Real Ghostbusters. So,
came out hang on. Ghostbusters, the movie, came out in 1984. Ghostbusters, the Filmation TV cartoon, started in 1986.
It still came out before the cartoon.
The Real Ghostbusters cartoon also came out in 86.
Yeah, they just beat them to it. So them. Yeah, they were all right there. But yeah, it was the most ridiculous story. I heard it the other day, And I'm just like, wow, that is some crazy bullshit where, hey, studios do studio shit. So screwing people out of money is kind of what Hollywood does. So I guess that's normal for the time.
For the
But
time or for forever, or maybe,
yeah,
I don't know.
pretty much. But
And
yeah, so
to give dates to that, Filmation Ghostbusters, September 8th. Real Ghostbusters, September 13th. Literally by a hair.
yeah,
But this isn't a Ghostbusters episode.
I maybe wish it was
I don't
just
know, man.
because I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what this conversation unfolds. But so you saw this after Ghostbusters. What was your mindset going into this movie? Like, what were your expectations, and where was your maturity level?
My maturity level has never been high. Let's just get that out of the way now. But my maturity level was somewhere in the pre to current high school age, like, like in that preteen area. So the mud wrestling scene was amazing. And I think what hooked me into the movie was seeing all these amazing actors that I liked from other things. Who didn't love John Candy, and who didn't love Bill Murray and Egon, who was my favorite Ghostbuster by far as a child. So knew a lot of the people in it, and the jokes were funny. Like, just there's so many good one-liners in this. And the thing about watching Stripes, the full movie versus the TV version of it is so different, because you get all that great 80s just inappropriate language and nudity that you don't get in the TV cut.
Did that bother you at all watching it in our, in air quotes, mature stages of our lives?
No, I
Like
still
the
think it's
twilight of our
hilarious.
years.
It might be more funny to see John Winger do his thing as an adult. The beginning of the movie where the guy's just like a down on his luck schmuck and his girlfriend leaves and all he can say is, "You can't go, all the plants will die." Like, and that's yes, I could see that. If my wife left, all the plants would die. And the cat.
So the strong-willed sexual harassment didn't bother you at all?
I think we grew up in an age where it doesn't necessarily bother us. It's definitely loud in this movie. I mean, the mud wrestling in and of itself is probably something that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. Oh, it happens. It happens. Let's not think that we evolve too much. It happens, just not under those ideal circumstances and with a lot less teeth.
So you hadn't seen this before.
Negative.
Was there a point when you started watching it where you were like, "Oh my God, it's another Nothing But Trouble. What did Mark get me into?"
No, I at no point did I think it was nothing but trouble. If anything, I was thinking like, holy shit, they are doing a comedic version of Full Metal Jacket. That's what I thought this movie was going to be. Because I wasn't quite sure. Like, I had no idea what the plot was. I knew that Bill Murray and Harold Ramis were going to be kind of like losers in the army, but other than that, no idea what the plot was. So I thought it was going to go through, and it pretty much does, pretty almost spot on, very similar to Full Metal Jacket. Am I wrong? It goes through
You're
pretty
not
similar.
wrong. There's just not a crazy Vincent D'Onofrio in this.
Right, right. Which I didn't expect there to be, but there is. So there's Psycho. What's his name? I can't remember what his, but they call him
Francis?
Psycho. So it's fair enough to say that there is someone crazy in the platoon, but it doesn't unfold the way that Full Metal Jacket does. And
Yeah,
there's a
because
little bit more like a solidarity at the end between the sergeant and obviously Winger. So I think this might be the better military movie to honor some of those great drill sergeants out there. So he gets his credit where credit is due.
I mean, I do love me some Arlie Emery over some Warren Oates, even though Sergeant Hulka is that big toe, which is just such a Bill Murray in this, so smooth, like in a herky jerky Bill Murray kind of way, but some of the lines are just so great.
I would have assumed that they just give him free reign to just improv on everything.
Well, if you look at when this was made and who was involved in making it and writing it, I would almost think that they rewrote on the day, because you've
Yeah.
got all of these amazing improv and comedic people who work off of each other so well that how do you not just let Bill Murray go nuts? Because Bill Murray at this time, just coming off Caddyshack, right around Meatballs. Like this is SNL height Bill Murray. Because let's be honest, Bill Murray is one of the first to do the thing that Mike Myers and Adam Sandler did, you know, after them, is go from SNL to leading films. Not
Some may
as
say
what?
he arguably did it the best out of all of them.
I mean, he's got the most. No, do him and Sandler have the same amount of Oscar noms?
I don't know, but did Bill Murray win for that Lost in
No, I don't
Translation
think he
movie?
did. I don't know.
He should
Unaware.
have, maybe.
It was a good movie, but I mean, it's just so solid from that perspective, and you get the fanfare of it, and you get all of these great supporting people that went with him, much like Wayne's World, where they pulled Rob Lowe and they brought his SNL buddy with them. He brought Harold Ramis, who was his guy on Caddyshack. And the one thing we can all agree on is, of the people in Caddyshack, Bill Murray far outshines Chevy Chase, who sucks.
Oh, for sure. I think that's kind of the case for pretty much every Chevy Chase movie, right? I think someone else always outshines him.
I mean, shitter's full, buddy. It's almost, 'tis the season almost.
Yeah. I forgot that we did that for one of our episodes. But
Great.
yeah, it's all about that type of humor, that type of nostalgia. So are you going into this thinking that like, oh, I remember this scene and that scene, and are you like, oh, I can't wait to watch this again? Or are you like, it's been so long since I've watched this, I don't remember shit.
There are so many lines in this movie that just stick out to me that I just remember, like the Psycho scene where John Candy's introducing himself and he says, "I swallowed a lot of aggression and a lot of pizzas." Right? The Czechoslovakia line when they're good, it's Czechoslovakia. We're in, we're out. It's like going to Wisconsin. The big toe piece. There's just so many solid one-liners in this. It gets me, and I just enjoy it. It's one of those movies that I watched a lot during ye old Hollywood video days. It would be one I'd just throw on after closing to clean everything up, because it's so good. This is one on TV I can come in at any point in it and still enjoy it.
Okay. Well, since we did talk a little bit about this movie without talking about what it's about, Mark, can you do us a favor and just grace the audience with your version of the plot?
Two friends, down on their luck, join the army for fame, fortune, and world travel. And hilarity ensues in an RV.
In an RV. That's true. Also true. Also true. Just based off of that, that plot synopsis right there, I don't think I would watch this movie. But it's funny because that's exactly what it is. But I had a good time watching it. So overall, just the pacing of everything, I want you to answer this two different ways. Answer it as the fan that you are of this movie, and then also if it was your first time watching this movie, what you thought of the pacing.
So, as a fan of this movie, I know what happens and I kind of know where it goes. If I was watching it for the first time, it seems a lot longer than an hour and 46 minutes, right? But
that's for sure.
If you watch any 80s movie, they all feel longer than they are. Pacing isn't as rapid as it is now. There's not as much, quick cut 90-minute movie action, and they're all longer, right?
What did you think of at any point in the movie, any unnecessary scenes that just went on for too long?
I mean, there's a lot of scenes that go on for too long, and not that go on. So I think that there's a cut of this that's just under 90 minutes that's super tight. But what do you cut? Like, where do you do it? Do you cut the scene where the lady's yelling at him in the taxi and he abandons the taxi on the bridge? Like, do you need that much John Winger backstory? Do you need to see him drop the pizza and pick the pizza back up and all that stuff? Do you need the dry cleaning thing where he gets the dry cleaning and the dress is absolutely ruined by the time he gets back? Like, do you need that? No. Do you need the scene where they go see the recruiter and they make the joke about being homosexuals and make the guy super uncomfortable and they just go back and forth about it?
We're willing to learn.
Do you need as much on the military base? Do you need as much, basic training stuff? I mean, no, but I think that they're all like funny scenes. And I think it
Go ahead, go ahead.
stretches well. There's it does feel long because this was the pacing of movies in 1981.
I would say the most unnecessary moments of the movie, and I normally wouldn't say this. I would normally say like it's an 80s movie or it's an early 90s movie, let it fly. But I would say the gratuitous nudity is, while a fan favorite, I would imagine it's pretty unnecessary for the most part. Like the John Larroquette scenes where he's just creeping on their showers and stuff like that. Ridiculous. Funny.
Yeah.
Went on a little longer than I thought it would be.
Well,
It's 80s humor at its best, right?
as a character, did you really need him?
Doing that, probably.
I
Because
mean,
you had to dislike him, right? So he has to be a dirtball. So why not skis on a bunch of women showering? That's how you do it. That's an easy way to get an unlikable
it's
character.
so Porky's, isn't it?
Another movie I haven't seen, at least in its entirety.
Man, I think I speak of more reverence of Porky's because of the movie it is in lore, not the movie it actually is on film. But
I would be
I hear you.
curious.
There is a tighter cut of Stripes, but I don't want it. I mean, I enjoy the subtlety that all of these performers bring, and it's like, it just does it for me. The subtlety is it.
The subtlety of the women showering was great. I'm just saying it probably wasn't necessary. That's all. I
Yeah.
respect their acting craft and their abilities. So that's
You could have cut out that. You could have just used the scene where he's like playing with the toy soldiers and being a douche and yelling at people because he's got like, he's just playing soldier and like you're right. You're not wrong.
it's interesting though to see it in like our old man dad eyes. You know what I mean? Like that's something where watch it even maybe even 5 years ago, don't have a problem with it. And not saying I have a problem with it now. I'm just saying I had a certain way that I felt about it, and I didn't think it was 100% necessary. So I could see why some SJWs would just be like, Stripes is an awful movie, totally dated. I get it. I understand that. But art at the time, right? I feel like that is something that is valid, and still people can respect certain things within a certain time from a certain artist, but not other pieces of art from certain artists. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, you're right. Diddy's never going to sound the same to us. Just like R. Kelly never sounds the same.
R. Kelly still has some bangers, though.
He does.
I don't know if Diddy really had that many bangers.
Oh,
It
it's
was
all about the
bangers because of
Benjamins.
others.
I mean, he's on so many Biggie songs that it's hard, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
but it's always Diddy and someone else. It's
It
never,
is.
this
It
is a
is.
Diddy hit. Diddy and Jimmy Page from the Godzilla soundtrack.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it's the whole thing with everyone in regards to the movie, their performance, the questionable scenes. I don't know. I think it all adds to the narrative of what this is trying to do. And it's just like an 80s romp. There's obviously some serious movies in the 80s that dealt with war and the military. And then there's this. And I think it's okay because it's a slacker's view of the world and the army and their adventures if that said slacker goes into the army. So I'm fine with it.
I think it might be, I mean, we're not planning this to be an accurate film by any means, but I think that anybody who's gone through military training, and I have not, but there are people that I've known that have, and they've had the slacker just like beat right out of them. So I think that the Bill Murray character is so fantastic in a way, like in a fantasy land that would actually get through, or that would actually work. But I think that that's what makes it so funny is the absurdity of the entirety of the film.
In some cases, that mirrors real life, right? Because, like you were saying before, I'm sure there's people that you went to high school with that joined the military, and you were just like, this is the person that's going to be defending our country. And then they turned into be like, Navy SEAL hard ass somehow. And it's great. I don't know. Sometimes, I am a firm believer that you can be beat into greatness. And I 100%, I'm down with the tough love in terms of military training or things like that. Just because it's not a pretty life. And in some cases, the ways you get there and the things you practice and things you do to sharpen your skills in the military isn't fun, isn't pretty, it's not a great time, but at the same time, it still builds you to who you are and what the military wants you to be. So I don't know. I'm okay with it. I'm a fan of the Terrence Fletcher type of coaching and mentoring, if you will.
Yeah, I think that's the reason that I shied away from service. I try to do my best to support people outside of that level of sacrifice because I don't respond well to it. But nobody ever has assumed that I would be the most disciplined and organized and non-combative person. I think.
So out of this ragtag group of individuals, who do you think was the best soldier out of everyone?
Oh, it was 100% Ox. You saw him at the end. He had a whole regiment of people doing the thing.
But he was the best soldier
I mean, he was the most disciplined and he never left a man behind or a bikini.
over Winger.
Winger.
I think, has legit leadership capabilities.
I think Winger just plays it fast and loose, my guy.
Sometimes that's what you need in a leader.
You
Little
said
gunslinging.
soldier, not officer.
How about person of the military? Either one.
Oh, that's Sergeant Hulka, baby. He's the big toe.
Yeah, that is true. He was a good character. I liked that he had that back and forth with Winger, and you could tell that he respects him. He doesn't like his methods, but he's like, "All right, fucker, you figured it out. I think you can make it in this." And I think that's the type of vibe that I got off of it. I was glad that it wasn't just a "I fucking hate you, Winger, like you're in for it. I'm gonna next mess up you have, I'm gonna have your ass." I just find it old, but I like when the salty prick authority figures are just like, "Yep, this young kid's onto something." So I feel like I got that vibe from that. Did you get that off of this viewing?
But yeah, I love me. I love me some Hulka and Winger. And I think this might be like my favorite Warren Oates anything because I don't know how much you know about the actor Warren Oates, but he did a lot of like westerns and stuff back in the day. And
Did a lot of
I
80s songs too, right? He was part of a
oh,
duo.
that's Hall and Oates, not Warren Oates, but that's funny.
Ah, same thing.
He was one of those actors that did one episode of everything that was, 50s and 60s TV. And he was in I think the Wild Bunch and stuff like that from a movie perspective, but this was, just such a cool role for somebody that was not, a stark contrast from Arlie Emery in Full Metal Jacket, but still had the gravitas to own that level of gunny kind of thing. So I really enjoyed both his performance and the banter.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely something that was a nice addition and a nice way to kind of break the comedic just juggernaut of cast, right? So you have
You
a little
have to
bit
have
of
a good
seriousness
straight
there.
man, and I think he was a good straight man, and he was serious about the work, the things he was doing. But the scenarios they put him through were comical. And I think he had a great balance of that from a timing perspective.
Yeah. It was good. Normally, I'm not a big fan of the antagonist being just like 100% prick, but at the same time, this is something that he wasn't, but he was a prick of enough to know that he was believing for what he stood in, and obviously he has a lot of high morals and thoughts on the country and the US Army, but it's interesting because when you take a look at Winger, the whole group of people, they don't really want to be there. They were just like, "Oh, this was advertised as an adventure to go be a part of the army. Like that's what I want to do." And not what they all thought. Like most of them thought after their haircut, like, "I want to fucking leave. This is awful." And so it's kind of a nice, realistic portrayal of what the average Joe may have just going into the military, the people that he's involved with, or, who has like everyday interactions with them. I find this oddly realistic. I like that fact of it. And even though it is comedic, I still think that there's more realism to this than a lot of people think.
I don't disagree with you. So, deep cut facts on this movie that I can't keep from you anymore. Do you know one of your favorite soldiers from the future is in this?
John Connor?
Bill Paxton
Is he
is
really?
a soldier extra in this movie.
Nice.
Yeah, no, there's some deep cut folks. Michael Flynn is in this.
Give me a Michael Flynn credit. Who is he?
He's been in so many things. He's in Yellowstone. He's in
So many.
no
So
no
many
he's
names.
in like some he did like some of like the notoriously bad early 2000s and 90s movies. He was in all the Halloweens. He was Deputy Pierce in the Halloween movies.
Okay.
He was a policeman in Footloose. He's just been in a lot of 80s and 90s stuff.
So he hasn't been in a lot of stuff.
He's been in a lot of stuff. He's just like the names of them are so random. Timothy Busfield is the guy that blows up or does one of the mortars in it. Timothy Busfield of The West Wing and 30 something and Field of Dreams and Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, that guy. I know exactly. When you said 30 something, I knew exactly who you're talking about. I never watched that show, but I remember that guy. It's the ginger, right?
It is. Yes.
Okay. That's the only guy I know from 30 something.
From 30 something. That's because he's
no
been
idea.
in so much. I love him in West Wing. He was in a baseball movie about the Minnesota Twins, Little Big League. He's in a lot of stuff.
Never saw that. Was that good?
It was okay. I like it. It's one of those like terrible early 90s kids movies that's pretty solid. It's a solid baseball movie, and the cast is solid too. Not as solid as Stripes though. I mean, this is so good, I think. And to your point, they take you on the journey of these people, and it's at least realistic as far as the entry through and the hard time they have through basic training, the way that the class clown gets them in trouble so much, and normally the class clown is beaten down, but John Winger rises above, baby.
No consequences.
None
whatsoever.
None that hurt him. Maybe because he's banging the MPs.
Yeah. But you know who likes the MPs? The answer is nobody. Like, so I got that joke from someone who used to be an MP, and he would talk about it to like other people. It's like, yeah, military police. And he's like, the funny thing about military police is, who likes the military police? Nobody. It's like no one respects them. It's almost like a lower tier of security guard. That's what, based off of his telling to me, kind of how people respect or lack the respect for the MPs.
Well, I have the utmost respect for all who have served in military policeness, and not the lack of respect that Dan does. Send all hate mail to I can do this all day. Podcast Care of Dan.
Everyone chime in. All military. Do you respect the MPs? And how much shit do you talk about them? Both to their face and behind their backs. Because apparently that's a thing. I didn't know that. I didn't know that people like viewed military police like kind of a lesser being. But I'm not saying it. That's just what I heard.
That's just what I heard. So now that you've seen this, where would you put it in the pantheon of 80s comedy movies? Like, where does it stand for you?
I don't think it stands anywhere near the top. And that's just because I haven't had as much exposure to it, and I've only seen it once. Based off of that one time, is it good? Sure. But I don't know if I would really put it in even like the top quarter of movies in terms of just the comedic sense. I think I'll still default to Meatballs in terms of the comedic aspects just a little bit more. And even some of those other movies that are just not straight up comedies, but have comedies in it, there's some really great movies in the 80s that...
Let me give you some comparisons and you tell me, right? We'll do a little pick 'em. Sound good?
Yep.
Stripes or Christmas Vacation? Or Vacation, sorry, regular Vacation.
I might say regular Vacation.
Okay. Stripes or Mr. Mom?
Stripes. Don't care about Michael Keaton.
Stripes or Weird Science?
I'll just say Stripes because Weird Science, I've only seen it a handful of times, and it was just because Kelly LeBrock was hot, right? Is that the only reason?
It's probably. Stripes or The Three Amigos?
I really like Three Amigos. However, it's the Chevy Chase factor that makes me want to say Stripes.
Stripes or Princess Bride?
I haven't seen Princess Bride, so Stripes by default. I would probably pick Stripes anyway.
Stripes or Trading Places?
Trading Places, 100%.
I agree.
That's an easy, like, that movie trumps it for sure.
Stripes or The Great Outdoors?
Haven't watched Great Outdoors in a long time, but I will say Great Outdoors.
Yeah, it's a close one for me. Stripes or Beverly Hills Cop?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Stripes or The Blues Brothers?
Blues Brothers. Oh man. That just has, if you think that Stripes has a bunch of comedic moments, I think Blues Brothers by far trumps it. And it's a much more in-depth level of comedy. Like there's different levels of how funny their jokes are. And also just the sheer presentation and lunacy of it all. Some of the musical numbers and everything. Yeah, Blues Brothers for sure.
The music in Blues Brothers is so good. And it's got Dan Aykroyd. Stripes or Clue?
I'll say Stripes. Don't care about Clue.
I disagree. I'm all about Clue. Stripes or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
That's a good one. I want to say Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because it has sentimental value to me. That is the episode where I almost shit myself. I think I'll say Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because there's a level of emotion there that you don't get with Stripes.
There's very little emotional depth in Stripes.
Yeah.
And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So those are some really close ones. Let me just gauge for the listeners with the bigger 80s comedy adventure movies. Stripes or Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters.
Stripes or Goonies?
Goonies.
Stripes or Airplane?
Airplane.
Okay. Just to let everybody know where Danny lives in that world. But yeah. I think that that's some of the movies that you ranked it over are pretty solid pantheon of 80s movie comedies.
Yeah. Well, which I did say it wasn't in the top quarter, right? I think I did say like in the 50% range if I gave a metric. But yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately now, because when we go watch certain movies, if it's a certain age, it's a hard decision to make it, you know, if I can go back to like 1982 or whatever this was made and watch it, that's a different viewing compared to watching it in 2025 now, the way that the world is, me being a dad, me being either more sensitive or less sensitive to certain things. It's tough. It's tough. But before we go into like an in-depth of the question that we always ask, anything in this movie Martha you?
I can't really think of anything. I've watched it so many times. I have such deep love for it. I think it's hilarious, and for what it is, it's perfect. What it's meant to be, it works for me. Nothing really Martha. You know, I'd love the RV to be something cooler, but in the moment where this is made, the ridiculosity of it is so great. That's what really does it for me.
I thought for sure that RV was going to be like Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke 2.0, where the whole thing was just marijuana. But I guess they already did that.
It was apparently a lot of firepower. What about you? You first time viewer. What Martha'd you?
John Larroquette. 100% without a doubt Martha'd me to no end. I hated his character. And I'm not a big fan of John Larroquette to begin with. Like he always plays a great asshole. And so this is kind of like a praise to him because he fucking Martha'd me so much in this movie. I just hated him. But it's exactly what you're supposed to do with that type of character. You know, he's not supposed to be likable. So I was cool with that. So it's a Martha of talent. You obviously did your character exactly the way you wanted it to be and how you should portray that type of character, which you hate them. They're just scumbuckets and voyeurs. So that's my one Martha moment and not even anything else close to that.
That's a solid review from you.
It's excuse me, interesting movie that we did because it's been so long since this came out, and watching it with this jaded set of eyes kind of was enlightening for me. I'm glad that I finally watched it. But before we go into this and either suck the proverbial dick of the movie,
Oh.
let's just see, Mark, when it comes to Stripes, can you do this all day?
I'm going to say, to no surprise of our audience, that I agree with all of those Rotten Tomatoes scores. 88% tomato meter, 86% audience. I'm a yes. I can do this all day. Love this movie. Great, just lines throughout. It's one where if it's on, I'll watch it the way through. It's a great hotel room movie where you're just flicking the channels and hoping. But the real question and the real, you know, the thing we're all waiting on is to hear you, first time watcher. Dan, when it comes to the 1981 comedy classic Stripes, can you do this all day?
I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to say I just barely cannot do this all day. And the reasoning as to why is, if I'm going to give someone my I can do this all day recommendation, it's because you have to see the movie. It doesn't matter if you're a fan, it doesn't matter if you like certain actors or not. You need to see the movie. And I just don't think that this one applies. I think it is very applicable to some people out there, and they'll really enjoy the humor of it. They'll enjoy the irony of everything, and kind of just the whole premise of average Joes just joining the military and their perspective of it. So I think there's some validity there. There's an audience for the movie, but I just think the movie itself has aged, and it's not even that great of a comedic movie for the time period. Is it good? Yes. Do I like the jokes in it? Do I like the witty humor and the dialogue? Of course I do. It's very, very good, and I feel like if it was done at another time, it might be in that upper echelon. But the 80s were so stacked with just good movies in general, and then also really good comedy movies. So it's a weird genre to have such a stacked amount of movies. And even though this one's very good and very serviceable, still doesn't, in my opinion, crack that top 50% mark. So nope, that is just me. I cannot do this all day, but just barely. Still a good movie. If you're an SNL fan, you should check it out. If you're a fan of Animal House, you should check it out. But I think for anyone else outside of that realm, you have to really dedicate the time and some brain power to stick with it.
Some brain power. Wow. I mean, you're not wrong. It's a period piece, but
It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that
you
we watched it.
Now you'll understand my big toe jokes.
Maybe. We'll see. But that wraps up another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I'm Dan, the Part-Time Avenger. That is Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think of Stripes. And apparently, Dan wants to know what you think of the military police. The one thing I do know that both of us do is appreciate all of those that have served. What a day of Veterans Day for us to recognize and give a solid thank you across the board there. But let us know what you thought. Like, subscribe, leave us some comments on all of that, and send us your thoughts at I Can Do This All Day podcast on all the socials. Yeah, let us know what you think.
Happy Veterans Day, everyone. We'll see you next time.